My name's Trevor Doornbos. As you can see from the photo, I'm the Sales Director and Mission Control Specialist for Aprika Business Solutions for APAC and US West. I will have the chat panel and the Q&A panel open during the session. So if there's any questions at any time, we'll try and pause and take breath occasionally. But please do feel free at any time to jump in with a question on the Q&A or the chat panel. So I might just give one more minute to let a few people join. My background while we're waiting, I've been in professional services for over 20 years, worked for many software companies. I've been a professional services automation specialist for a number of companies. And I have to say, hand on heart, yes, I'm very biased, but I think Mission Control is quite amazing. So let's launch into it. We're all here to learn a bit more about Mission Control. If there's people on the call who haven't had much to do with Salesforce, so they're new to Salesforce and they're looking at project management, please let me know in the chat panel or the Q&A panel, and I'll get a bit more detailed as we go through. So let's give a little bit of background on why would someone select Mission Control? Well, first of all, it's built natively on Salesforce. So from the ground up, it's native to Salesforce. When the questions are asked, is it integrated with Salesforce? Short answer is yes. Our objects sit inside the Salesforce org. You download Mission Control from Salesforce App Exchange, and it works like any other object. It's intrinsically integrated at the API layer for the more technical among you. It works out of the box. So everything I'm going to show you in the solution demonstration today is standard capability. Maybe page layouts may look different from people's org to org, and that's Salesforce page layout and configuration. There's an extensive knowledge base, user guide, support, training videos, learning portal. We try and make everything as accessible as possible. So even when you're running a trial, all that information is going to be available to you. What's the benefits of using Mission Control? We did a business and economic impact report, came out earlier this year. This is from a study across a number of Mission Control customers, and those are not our figures. That is what's coming back from the clients. If you'd like a copy of this report, please leave a message in the chat. Happy to share that with people. And yeah, go through it in a bit more detail. Now, what is it that people have as their key challenges? Why they're looking at a PSA solution, professional service automation, or a project management solution on Salesforce? Well, it's mostly about people. It's around capacity. Do we have the capacity to deliver? Do we have the bandwidth? What work do we have coming up? What work's going to finish? Are we really struggling to get people onto projects, or people sitting on the bench? And then when they are working, how is their utilization? And is that utilization billable or non-billable? And what are they spending their time on? And when they are spending that time, how efficient and how effective are they? So having that visibility of seeing how things are going. Typically, a lot of our clients before Mission Control, they might have a number of systems. Excel's probably one of the most popular out there, but the visibility is not great. And then the fourth key challenge is profitability. Are we making enough money? How are our margins? The number of times I speak with clients who don't know what their profitability is like until the end of the month, and sometimes not even then. So being able to get all that information all in one place, super powerful. Feedback from our clients, we've listed on G2, so beginning of last year. And these are the results from asking a lot of our clients to go and leave honest reviews of Mission Control. We were kind of blown away by this. Anyone who's familiar with NPS, Net Promoter Score, that's what the 83 represents. And that's kind of out of this world in the software as a service industry, and especially in our industry, where the average is around 50 to 60. So you can obviously see the feedback we've had from our clients is really, really strong. Quick chart at the right-hand side of the screen about how long does it take to implement Mission Control. It can be super fast. That's all up to you. The actual configuration stage of it, if we're doing the implementation for you, could be a matter of days. It's getting everything documented and set up correctly. The other thing with mission control, if you're a skilled, competent Salesforce administrator, you can implement it. Systems integrators, Salesforce partners can integrate it, or we can implement it, I should say, or we can do it, you can do it, you can have a partner or a combination of those. So you don't have to be 100% skilled in mission control to be able to implement, which is kind of amazing. What about customers saying? So brands over there in Wellington, New Zealand, they've been using mission control for a few years now. First off, their first year, they were saving 4 days per project manager every month by putting everything into one place with mission control on Salesforce. And then last year, they were telling us about how they did a full study on how that's working for them, and they're getting a 30% increase in efficiency. So without any extra spend or extra people, really powerful. For a Fortune 500 company like Cardinal Health in the US, benefits they're getting from it. So it's having that visibility, getting all that information in one place. And it's not just visibility, it's accountability. So when things are running behind, can we help people? Can we check up on how things are going? So depending on which approach you want to take. Where did we come from? So the evolution of mission control. So the company I work for is called Aprika Business Solutions. We formed in 2010 with our co-founders, Chris and Colin, and they worked together previously at a Salesforce systems integrator, and they determined to set up their own company, which they did. So just the two of them to start, and they wanted to develop a product that didn't need a lot of support. So you'll notice that with mission control is all the information you need is at your fingertips online, and very responsive support as well. Since 2012, almost 10 years ago next month, we've been on Salesforce App Exchange, and functionality as requested by our customers has been added in. So in the last 2 years, we've doubled and almost doubled again. This slide's actually out of date. We're coming close to 12,000 users on mission control, and we're across the world. So we've got our headquarters originally here in Australia. We have staff in Australia. We've also got staff across North America. So we're supporting companies all across the world. What's in mission control? What is a PSA? Is it more than just project management? Well, resource management is pretty key if you want to manage your professional services. And by professional services, I mean any company where you need to account for time and delivery. So whether that's construction, professional services, media agencies, architecture and design, you name it, you can use these aspects across pretty much any sort of company. So under resource management, being able to cost out what your people are costing to deliver, what you're charging them out at, what their availability, when I'm searching for people getting the right skills, all these sorts of things built into the solution. And when I want to create a project, how can I do that? Well, I want to do it automatically, would be the best way in many cases. The example I'll show you is generating a project automatically from an opportunity, but you can do it from pretty much any Salesforce standard or custom object using our project request object. So maybe you want to log time to a support case and have that aligned to a project under an account record. You can certainly do that. Being able to create projects is pretty straightforward, much as when I use Microsoft Project. You can copy, create, borrow from other projects, create templates for repeatable standards, very, very flexible. As is the management style, we don't force you down one path of how you need to view a project. You've got all the aspects there on how to manage a project, and you can choose which aspects people see if you want. Does someone prefer a Kanban view? Someone prefer an action pad list view? Gantt chart views, all these, and I'll cover off some of these as we go through. Tracking time is obviously crucial to be able to measure all the metrics you need in the services organization, from billable time, non-billable time, utilization, availability, all those sorts of things, and even linking that through to your Salesforce calendar if you're integrated into Google or Outlook calendar. And out of the box, there's about 7 different places you can log time in mission control to make it as flexible as possible. We also include full project financials from different styles of invoicing, fixed fee, time and materials, retainer, you name it, through to multi-currency support, different tax rates depending on where you're delivering to, and also things such as revenue recognition. Program management, if you're like us, you're a software company, we actually developed the roadmap for mission control on mission control. So gathering requirements, building out user stories, putting those into story builds, and then running them through sprint cycles. Won't be covering that today. That's a whole session on its own. And of course, collaboration is leveraging the platform where we're built on Salesforce. So Chatter, of course, prevalent right through the platform. And I'll be showing you things such as out-of-the-box status reports and read-only page. You can share with your customer and project key stakeholders so they're getting information about what's happening with the project. Pretty crucial. And we'll cover off a few productivity tools as well. Okay, I'm going to pause for a breath, a sip of coffee, and this is going to be pretty much the journey we're taking today. I'll swap across shortly to our live demo account. So strap yourself onto the rocket and we'll be off shortly. Okay, so I'm logged into my Salesforce account. I've logged in and I've come into mission control. So if you look at the Salesforce app launcher at the top left, those 9 buttons, I'm in the mission control app. I've got my Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, Marketing Cloud, my other apps, and I've configured this to look the way I want to. I've got this configured to suit a demonstration so I can go through in sequence, but obviously with the configurability of Salesforce and mission control, you can have this look different for each of your different users or different groups of users. We also ship with Salesforce permission sets to enable that. Now I've got a number of tabs I'm going to work through as we go through the demo. You might start in the console, and the console essentially is a grouping of wizards to simplify some of the things you might do, from creating your first project, from copying, cloning a template project, creating new users, new roles in the system, building out your risk matrix, building out your skills matrix, creating new risks, and you can determine who gets to see and use these. Well, we're going to be going through the Kanban whiteboard. I'll be working with the action pad, and we'll cover some of these. There's a control pad. Now, I'm going to highlight the control pad for the simple reason that if you do download a trial, come to the 14-day free trial, no credit card required. If you go to the control pad and scroll down, we've got this nifty little feature that you can create sample data. Okay, so let's start our day. Let's start our day perhaps as a manager would. They want to see what's happening in the system. There's 2 or 3 places I may look. So out of the box, we provide some Salesforce dashboards and reports. I'm just use this dashboard. I've configured it a little to give me the metrics I care about, but these can be whatever metrics you're capturing in the system. This dashboard has only got, mostly got mission control metrics, but you might capture an opportunity metrics, conversions, all that sort of thing. And then, put what you need in here. Now, the key things that people ask us are, can I track forecast revenue? Well, I certainly can. If I want to be more granular than that, when is it going to drop? How much per month? Absolutely can do that. By status, how much is planned? How much is delivered? How much is almost ready to go? How much is actually running at the moment? How are my projects going to budget? Utilization, all the key things and key metrics people care about. And I like this one. I want to have a look at my how are my projects performing to budget? Well, I've got 3 here. This is the Salesforce dashboard. So we leverage Salesforce where the capabilities are already there. I'm going to drill through into the report from my chart here into the Salesforce report, which is a mission control Salesforce report. We provide a number of those out of the box. And I can see my metrics for the projects. I can drill through into my labs roadshow and get a bit more detail on what's happening. Now, I know what I'm looking for. There's a lot of numbers and dollars and everything here on the screen, but under the project insights, I can see my cost performance is falling below 1, which is why it's highlighted red, but my schedule's on track, and that's why it's green. I can see here my billable dollars, how many I've got to deliver, how many I have actually delivered, my hours, my P&L, my margin, and also my invoicing, all in one place. And we're going to come back to that and go into that, when we get time at the end of the session. If I did want to, actually, while I'm here, if I did want to see why my cost performance is down, even though we're on schedule, I can jump into the work breakdown structure of my project. Now I've got everything switched on here. You can switch on and off whatever you need per user, per group. And I can see under my requirements, at the right-hand side here is my estimated hours is 174, and my actuals was 219. So I've actually used more hours than I estimated. So that's probably why we've blown out cost. If I look here at the milestone under that, I've got my actions. And I can see my estimate of 4 was fine. My estimate of 160, I actually used less. And here's the culprit on client approval, used 8 times the amount. So that's what's impacted our cost. So as we're delivering the login time and measuring, we can see how our project's performing. That's the highlight for that. What if I'm a fan of Gantt charts? We have the concept of Gantt chart anywhere. So I've selected a filter to show just the number of my key projects I'm looking at. And first of all, maybe even at a high level, let's say, well, have any of these been pushed based on the original schedule? So I can see the original baseline, for example, for my ACE Labs implementation, and that's already pushed out a week. I can drill down to there and see, okay, what's actually happened to my project, where is it up to? It hasn't actually started yet, but I can see it was supposed to start this week. That's a nice way to sort of toggle between the two. We have a look at our ACE Labs roadshow that we saw before. I can see the project, the milestones, and the milestones. I can see those actions, and I've also got dependencies and lag times, all the key things that people care about from project management when they're going into a bit more depth. I can go and edit from here. I can log time. There's one of the 7 places I can log time. There's a lot of flexibility in here, and I can drill through from here and get more information on the action. There's a lot of features in here, such as being able to auto schedule when we move things. So that's probably a good 10 minutes we could spend there on its own. So this is at a high level we're showing today. The resource planner, so brand new in our February release. If you're using role forecasting within the app, then Resource Planner is going to be really powerful for you. So I'm just going to filter to my Australia team. So use one of the many filters I've got available in my system. And let's have a look just for the month of June, how we're looking. So straight off, I can see some of my people have got some allocations, some have got none. Thankfully, this is a demo org. Otherwise, I'd have a lot of people on the bench. I can see the actual time that's running. What is that made up of? I've got some based on actions. That's where we're allocating the work. I've got some holiday, and I can see the capacity line. So a lot of white space here. Now, if you're using the new role forecasting feature, which you can do from a project or an opportunity level, and that's, again, another separate demonstration, I'm going to include my forecast and my actions. So if my forecast opportunities had closed, we'd be pretty much at capacity. So this is probably what I want to see for the weeks and the months going forward. So this is really just to show you the capability of, do I have the capacity to deliver? What if this project, what if this opportunity closes? What's the impact that's going to have? And then if we flip across to the planner portion, I can see I've broken this down by the next 4 weeks on the same information, go, what does that actually look like? I can see Andrea's capacity, and I can see she's way over if we actually won all that forecast work. And I can see how much of that is billable, non-billable. I see she's got some holiday booked this week, and I can see all the projects she's working on, and also whether that's billable or non-billable. So a lot of granularity, a lot of information. There's filters and settings we can go through. Won't have time for that today, unfortunately. Booking a call to have a demo with us, we can drill into that a bit more detail. Utilization, of course, is important. And I'm just filtering this by role to one person, Andrea, for the month of March, where I've got some data. And we've categorized our time in the system to how much of that is billable, how much is non-billable, excluded to be training, personal time, admin time, that sort of thing, and then holiday. And then also, what's that breakdown week to week? Just going to let you read that for a sec while you just grab a sip of water. And what I'm looking at here is I can see Andrea's been allocated to work 40 hours a week. If Andrea had 30 hours a week or 32, that would show, based on her available time, we've set a billable target. So we're measuring her utilization, the hours she's logging each week, but also her billable utilization. So for example, we can see her billable target for this week is actually 32. So she's obviously taken some time out for whatever reason. So while her utilization was high, her billable utilization was even higher. And you can see these metrics. You could do this for your whole team and measure all those KPIs on a weekly basis, monthly basis, and roll that up as you need to. Okay, so how does this look from proposal to invoice? And that's what I'm going to give you in the next 10 minutes, is we're going to start from a Salesforce opportunity. I could be working as a salesperson, maybe as the project manager, helping the salesperson scope out the project. And then we're going to create a project. We're going to find a resource with the right capacity and capability to work on that. They're going to log some time, mark some actions complete. And then we're going to go through and show how the billing and the invoice generation works. So again, any questions, please, jump in at any time. So I've got a very straightforward page layout here for my opportunity. I can see all the account details. And I've added this section when I installed Mission Control, Project Generation. I've added these 4 fields. Now, there's a number of ways that I can create a project from an opportunity automatically. And the option I'm choosing is the opportunity method, where I'm just going to take my whole template and create a project based on the start date I've selected. So my template could have started 1st of January with all the dependencies and dependent dates, and it will realign from this date and then push all those dates to match in with that. There's other methods, the product method, when you can align to Salesforce products. If you have different types, maybe you have multiple templates, you want to bring them together into one project. There is a number of ways you can do that. It's extremely flexible. And you can create a project at any time. I could use a process builder and say, when I close one, tick this box for me to generate the project, or at any stage in the cycle, I might generate the project to help me with the scoping. Now, when I click save, that's going to run that process in the background. That's actually a new feature from our February release. Some of our clients had very large projects and they didn't want to wait. And under the related list on the right-hand side, when I hit refresh, my project should be appearing there. So I've created my demo project. It's got the project budget, which is from my opportunity, the start date, which is from the field here. And of course, it's linked into the account record for ACE and the opportunity. So we're connected right through the Salesforce system. When I jump into my project, much as our view we had before of our Labs Roadshow project, I've got a number of tabs across the top of the screen here. Now, I could have these switched on or off for whoever's using the system, various users. My personal preference when I come in is I want to have a look at the project insights, because it tells me my budget. It tells me how much I've got to bill, what's left. This example is based on how many hours were built in our project. If we were billing at the standard billing rate, what would that be? And then we've added a margin to come to this amount. Good practice, by the way. I can also see the hours I've got scheduled for this project, whether they're billable or non-billable or a combination. And I can see my margins, the P&L, on how that actually looks. And then any invoicing. And we'll come back to this later. Cost performance index and schedule performance index. Cost performance measures the hours scheduled and the actuals and tells you if you're under and over. Quite simple, but extremely powerful. And similarly with schedule performance index, it will tell you, are we on track to where we need to be? So I'm going to go into the work breakdown structure. We're going to go through a few of these views. You can choose whichever of the views you prefer to work with. And that structure is project, milestones. There's our requirements milestone, actions. I've got one action under my milestone called requirements meetings. And if I've got another level, as I do on this one, I've got checklist items. So first of all, I've got a placeholder consultant role. Again, nice little best practice. So you know what sort of role you need. You can also put your costing and your charge in there and as you're building out your project. This project is fixed price milestone. I've set a milestone budget. I've also got a setting to say when I complete a milestone, I'd like to generate an invoice for that amount, please. And I've got tax set on my project. I'm using Australian goods and services tax, a nice flat 10%, and that'll actually factor that in on the invoice. I can see the milestones in plan that hasn't yet started and the start date. And I've got a little icon here saying this is running late. It should have already started. If I go across to the hour summary, I can see my estimated hours and I've given it a name. Now, under my requirements meeting, super quickly, I can do this at the project level, I could reassign all of the actions in the project. I can go into the scheduler, check how that actually looks. What I'm going to do is get this one action resource pretty quickly. I'm going to go across to the little hamburger icon at the right here. It's a resource assignment wizard. And I'm going to search for the right person. So there's my placeholder role. I can see I've got 8 billable hours. And I need some from the consulting team. Now, if I wanted them from a specific location, I could say only select from a certain location, use my and or logic. In this case, I'm just happy to grab from the whole team. And I want someone who's good with configuration to start on the 8th of June. We need to get them resourced pretty quickly. I'm just going to hit search. It'll bring back a subset of my team, show what their availability looks like, how busy they are. For today, which is where we are in our demo, I can see like Andrea's got plenty of time, as does Colin, as does Zara. And then next week looks a bit busier. So a lot of green there, which in some circles will say is not good. And I can also see, for example, the right-hand side, Friday's actually Andrea's taking off. So better not book or anything for that. I'm just going to drag Andrea over here. And even though I look, not too busy, I'm just going to bring myself on here as a non-billable resource because I just want to see how well Andrea works on this. So you can have one owner of the action and multiple contributors. So as many people as you like, really. I look at the right-hand side, I can see a little icon there. So there's Andrea, she's got 8 hours. There's Trevor with 1 hour. So that's fantastic. So as the project manager, resource manager, what have you, I've done my job. Andrea may have got an automated email saying, similar to this, saying what she's allocated to, any notes she may have included, any contributors she's working with on that. And you can also give Andrea a daily digest. And that daily digest can comprise of what is on the schedule for today. So even before you log on to the system, what have you got coming up? What's been added? What are you waiting on other people for? What's actually overdue? And if you're an approver, what approvals have you got to run? Okay, so just going to stop there and take a breath. What questions do we have around creating our project and allocating a resource? I do see a question on reassignment. So I'm not going to go into it, but there's a lot of things you can select to come up on the top menu. So I could actually reassign all the resources here. I can reschedule a project. And many other actions. But again, because this is really, I guess this is a taste of mission control. If we need more detail, happy to follow that up with a deep dive demo for you individually. Okay, so I'm going to take off my project manager hat. I'm going to put on my, project. Can we share the project plan with external users like our customers for read-only access? Yes, you can. And an example of that is the project status reports. I will come to this later. And that also includes a Gantt chart view. So I guess I spoiled the party a bit saying what's coming up. But yeah, the short answer to that is absolutely. Okay, so project manager hat coming off, consultant hat going on. And there's a couple of places where Andrea, our consultant, might choose to work. One of the 2 popular ones are the action pad, where it's a list view of all the things you've got on. Just had a little filter to say, look, what's on my plate? How many hours have I got scheduled? Any checklist items I need? And I can see what's actually there. I can see what's been completed. And I'm just going to hit refresh. So we see what's been added in the last few minutes. And there we can see there's our demo project requirements milestone. We've got 8 hours planned. We can see it's running late. And Andrea can see at the right-hand side that Trevor's working on that with her. This is one of the other places she could actually choose to log time. She can raise an issue. So if you want to have issues and risks against the project, you can certainly do that. The checklist item manager. So Andrea could actually come into the checklist items she needs to work through. And let's just mark one of those off, establish the key requirements, has a bit more on meeting and then works through things. When she's finished, she can just tick this off as complete. That'll actually mark it complete. We can see because she's actually started working on it, she hasn't actually started logging time on it, so it'll still be sitting and planned. If she's more visual like myself, maybe Andrew's going to go to the Kanban Whiteboard. So again, let me just hit refresh. And the Kanban Whiteboard gives you a card type system. So you can see here, I've got my demo project requirements, milestone requirements meeting. The 5 fields below are whatever you want to select them. There's a little selector here, and I've just chosen, let's have start date, end date, completion percent, completed checklist items. These can be whatever you want to view. And you can lock this down to your users or give them the ability to choose. For example, our developers will use this for user stories and requirements, and I've got everything switched on. So let's say Andrea is going to, she prefers to have a look at the status view. These are pick list items from the action object. So either our standard ones or ones that you create. And we can see this is in progress because we marked the checklist item off. Andrea's finished up her meeting and she wants to just mark off the agreed requirements, and she documented that. And that's all fantastic. If she doesn't need to raise an issue, she can also do that from here and generate an issue. And I'll show the issue manager in a while if we have time. And then she's going to log time. So pick list again, if you want to use pick list, any notes you want to add, she's just going to log 8 out of the 8 hours. If you had more or less, obviously it's going to track these actuals against your estimate, so you can report on that real time. And rather than having to log time and then drag it to complete, I'm going to complete it while we're here. There's also a time tracker, like a stopwatch. You can start and stop. I was actually talking to a client yesterday in Brisbane who uses that all the time. They love it. I'm just going to log that time, mark it as complete. It'll take it out of the in progress column and move it to the complete column. So this is pretty old school, where it's planned as like my inbox. Andrea knows these are the things she's got coming up. She can work through these, and even though that's got Trevor as the owner, she's actually a contributor. So she filtered to show anything that she's involved with. So question, yes, can we change the column headings? Yeah, absolutely. These, as I mentioned, are pick list items on the action record, the action object, and these can be the ones that come with the product or ones that you add yourself. And the summary fields at the top of the screen, again, you might be filtering by dollars, time to deliver, anything like that. There's filters all through the system. You might want to filter to one project. I've used different colors on my projects just to make it easier to differentiate. So you could do that as well. So I'm just going to take off my consultant hat and go back to my project very quickly, realizing we're running out of time. And a couple of things have happened in the background when we completed that action. Because that action, sorry, let me go back to my work breakdown structure. I'll notice here my milestone is complete because I also have a setting that says when all the actions under the milestone complete, auto complete the milestone. Then we have that setting to generate the invoice. Now what that's done is created a billing event based on the completion of that requirements milestone for $2,000. We've got goods and services we're using for this project, so it's taken 10%. And if I drill right under the covers, if I'm lucky, okay, it hasn't generated an invoice yet. That could happen the next minute or two. And why would I go to this step under the billing event? You wouldn't do this every day, but this is where that billing event sits. So you could actually have this attributed to the right ledger code, and you could extract this as a CSV file on a daily, weekly basis, perhaps put it into your finance system, or use an integration app from App Exchange to actually push that. We do that to push our information through to Xero. So, and then obviously when that comes back from Xero, marked as paid, sorry, clicking around too much again. When that comes back from Xero as paid, sorry, there's our billing event. When it comes back from Xero as paid, you can have it automatically marked as paid, or you can do it manually like I am. So maybe your finance people have access to this. So I had 2,000 plus tax. They paid it by direct deposit and they used whatever reference code. Okay, why am I showing you all this information? Because that sort of completes the cycle. If I go to my demo project now, I can see under the billing and also under my insights that I've generated an invoice for $2,000 and the client's paid it. So that's kind of powerful. I don't have to go hassle finance. I've got all the information I need in here. If I'm not privileged to see dollar information, there's a setting for that to hide that. Only the right people get to see it. So that sort of completed the cycle from creating a project for an opportunity through to working through it. So maybe at this stage, the client's paid, we're ready to start the next milestone. Maybe I prefer going into the Gantt chart view so I can see my requirements here, its progress is complete. My dependency is the implementation. And I call the client, say, we're ready to go for the next stage. And they say, can we push that out a week? Now, I've got the toggle auto schedule here, the green lightning bolt set. And so not a problem. We're going to push that out 1 week. And that's just going to push the rest of my schedule out as well. When I'm happy with that, I can actually save that. I can edit from in here. I can export these projects. A lot of great information I can do. I'm going to take off my project manager and consultant hat and go more to my resource manager hat. And this is where we had the resource planner at the beginning. That's where we can see what's going to happen, what's currently happening in the schedule. This is where I can actually impact some of this. So for example, under the scheduler, I've filtered to my consulting team. I've got these placeholder roles of projects coming up. Let's just hit refresh so we can see the work that Andrea was allocated on today. And this is where you can start affecting what's happening on your schedule. So this is the projects that are happening. For example, I can see we have Acme website build. Andrea's got 6 hours out of total 42 scheduled for that action. If we drill down to the action level, then we can see a bit more of what she's actually working on. So it's okay, so that actual action is 8 hours. She's doing 6 hours of that. And this is going to impact her availability, which we can see her scheduled allocation is about 20 hours over availability, and she's overutilized as well. So even before she started delivering, we can see that. How does that look from a heat map perspective based on people's availability? I can see that Nanda is a great example. She's looking pretty okay right up until here when things start to go a bit south. So if I had a look at Monday, the 27th, that's a double day. Maybe you want to have a quick look at that and see what impact we can make. So, okay, we can see here, right, there's several things that Andrea's allocated to. So if I actually start pulling this back into a placeholder role, maybe that's going to have an impact and I can start reallocating that to other people. Okay. That was the offender. So I can see I've got 8 hours I need to allocate, and I could filter to have a look who's got the right capability to deliver. Maybe someone needs certain skill sets and proficiency, and then I can drag that out to other people. Under the detail, you can see a lot more information as well. Is it billable and non-billable? And if you've got privilege, even who can see the financial information of what that actually looks like. What I like about this screen is, like the role planner, the resource planner, you can look out into the future and say, based on our current projects, how are things looking for the next weeks or month? When do we fall off a cliff and need to start selling more and delivering more? So that's certainly, we can deliver on that. I talked about many places to log time. You may not be able to see the screen at the bottom here. I'll just drag this up, and there's a little persistent menu. So if I go back into my demo project here and I click on log time, it's going to pre-populate with the project, and then I can just choose what action I'm logging time to. So kind of handy little feature. I can log expenses the same way in here. There's also the standalone timesheet. So here's an example for myself, projects I'm allocated to, nothing scheduled for this week. I could also add in, maybe I've got a work in progress meeting I actually worked on today. So let's just say not even allowed to work on that at the moment, unfortunately. So that's part of my demo account. If you've got integration into Salesforce Calendar, then not only with the mission control items, you can actually see other items allocated at a calendar view. So, and then you can actually log time from here as well. And also approvals, out-of-the-box approvals. Can we see utilization? Sorry, I just got a question. Can we see utilization from the Gantt chart directly, or is that not possible? Utilization is more from that utilization screen. You could certainly see, if I jump into my demo project, I can see the hours scheduled, and we can see what's delivered. But yeah, for utilization, you really need to, you either need to do a report on that from another place or do it from the utilization screen. Just realize we're running low on time. Approvals on the timesheet level, I know I'm jumping around a bit. As I'm both the project manager on Ace Labs Roadshow and also Carrie's reporting or role manager, I can approve or reject at both levels here. Chatter her, probably should have mentioned a bit more about Chatter earlier. And let's have a quick look for the next 5 or so minutes on what's in a project you might care about. So here's an Ace Labs Roadshow we came in at the beginning. We already saw a work breakdown structure where we've got multiple milestones, actions, and checklists. We had a look at the Gantt chart. The action pad I showed you standalone, that's also available under the project. So if you're the only one working on the project, we have access to this. You can work from this level. You can do the same with the whiteboard. So you might want to look at the whiteboard from this level. That's kind of useful when you're under the project. So you can look at things from a milestone perspective and how things are progressing if you need to drag things between milestones. And that's quite a nifty feature if you're using an agile approach. For example, if you've got sprint 1, sprint 2, sprint 3, and you need to move actions forward in a sprint, then you can certainly do that. Other screens, so time logs, based on the allocated time, you see the burn down chart. In an ideal world, if it wasn't a demo, we'd see us logging time and we're going under or over. We can track that. Similarly, if you're tracking expenses, you can have your budget for expenses and then what's actually logged as expenses against the project. If you're in construction, then maybe budget items would be really useful. And budget items brought in about a year ago into the product, specifically for our construction clients who want to track quite granularly at a budget level. So, setting their billable budget, their cost, what their P&L, what their margin looks like, and then being able to report on that in various ways and slice and dice that. Risks and issues. So obviously, if you've got any risks facing on a project, you want to collaborate on those, you can certainly create those. For example, I've got an approvals risk action here, where the detail on this is a bit worried if the approver's going away on holiday. If I go into the risk detail at the right-hand side, I can chatter people on this. I can promote this from a risk to an issue, and I can have a mitigation. I'm saying, what's the countermeasure? If the approver is not available, we'll have the client allocate alternate approvers. Now, you may have noticed a lot of pop-up menus at the trackpad at the right-hand side, depending on what you're allowed to see. You can see the chatter feed for the project, and depending where you are, if you're at the high level, see it for the whole system, timeline of activities, what's actually been happening. So we can see the various actions and milestones that have completed. Again, we can log time, expenses, add new actions, and add risks. Lastly, before I go into the status reports, we do have revenue recognition built in. Project retrospectives that came in our September release. So if anyone who's a current customer, that might be important for you. And project retrospectives, maybe at a milestone completion or other levels, you can get an idea of, okay, how are our projects running? How can we do it better in future? And preview status reports. So the weekly stakeholders status report is an example. You'd obviously use your own hero image and logos. This is going to our key customer Ace, and I might just send them the project summary, maybe add a custom field for notes here to say, weekly summary of what's happening. And I could give them the project detail, right down to the work breakdown structure. Maybe I'll only allow them to see the milestones, include an image of the Gantt chart, perhaps, risks, issues, time logs, whatever. And got another question. Is there a place to record weekly meeting notes or action items somewhere in the project in ad hoc way, not task assignment? That's a good question. And off the top of my head, I don't know the answer. I mean, certainly you could build that into retrospectives, depending on how you want to annotate. Certainly, if you've got collaboration type things, you can do that from the chatter feed. So for example, I could say, Andrea, please log your time. Any other notes fields you want to add, that's certainly things you can add. I've just added this activity feature here, for example, where maybe you could do something similar. This is all standard Salesforce capability. So maybe you just have a notes field that you're adding here, weekly notes. Again, very configurable because we're built on the Salesforce platform. Pretty much running to the end of this, so please, any questions you've got, please fire them up into the chat or into the Q&A window. And how are task owners notified about their tasks open items? Okay, I might have missed that one earlier. You can have an action notification when you assign someone. You can give someone a daily digest, and also on the action pad, they can see all the actions they've got allocated. So they can see everything that's allocated to them here, and similarly in that whiteboard view. So a number of ways that can be done. That's a lot to cover off. We started at the console. We went to a dashboard and drilled through to a project. I showed you the standalone Gantt chart. We covered off the resource planner, touched on utilization, which you can do at individual and team and group levels. We created a project from an opportunity. We allocated Andrea to that. Andrea logged some time. The cost performance and the schedule performance gets updated on a weekly basis, typically early on a Monday, so you can track real time, how are my projects going. I went through and looked at the consultant's view from an action pad and also from a whiteboard perspective, touched briefly on the resource scheduler and how we can reassign actions and track people's allocations and what people are working on. How we've color-coded projects to be able to easily differentiate. We actually have holiday accruals in the system and leave approvals, and that's all built into the system. And questions come up: for anyone to be part of the project, do they need to be a user on Salesforce? So if you want someone to interact with Mission Control, then yes, they'll need a Salesforce license and a Mission Control license. What you can do is, for example, here, and I'm using a dev org, so I don't have a lot of users, you can assign people as contacts, Salesforce contacts, to a role where they don't need to actually log in, but you want them to get those notifications that things are happening. So I could have Blake as a customer. Okay, another question of, so CPI and SPI won't update if approved time logs or my action is complete in the middle of the week. Short answer is correct. And that's a setting on the control pad. And I've done this just before the demo. So I typically schedule this to run Monday early in the morning. But certainly if you have a lot of time logs going, you could come in daily if you really wanted to and update that. So we could say, look at Wednesday at 6 p.m. or 6 p.m. I should say, update that, because today I want to see the CPI and the SPI updated, but that's going to impact every project in your org. So typically only your admin's going to have access to that. And that's under the control pad under the console, and it's called Action Progress Tracking. How do I get support on Mission Control? Well, actually, let's go back a step. How can I trial Mission Control? So if you go to Salesforce App Exchange, you'll find Mission Control Project Management for Salesforce, PSA, on App Exchange. You can watch a little 5-minute demo. You can actually take a test drive in a live Mission Control account. So either log in with your Trailblazer account or use guest access, and you can go and have a look at about 80 to 90% of what I've shown you today in a test drive account, even create your own projects. You can get it now. You can download into your own sandbox if you prefer, into a Salesforce org, and it comes by default with a free 14-day trial. No financial information required to get that started. A lot of great collateral available online. If I scroll right down here, I'll see the Mission Control user guide, quick start guide, getting started. See some of the last releases, the Mission Control brochure, a lot of great information on the product. And if you do then download a trial, you can start raising support tickets from our support page. You don't have to be a client. You could visit the support page. I can see Omar is actually online on live chat. So if you have any technical or sales questions, he'll field those for you, find the right person to get an answer. I love the knowledge base. I use this on a daily basis. The user guide, again, available to read online and downloads a PDF. But the knowledge base, for example, like, If I go license, Salesforce license capability, and you can go and have a look at this today. It says what licenses is Mission Control compatible with? And it's got all that information. Maybe I've got a question on the Gantt chart. So I'll type in Gantt and it will just highlight some of the key articles. Okay, can I look at the critical path? Can I change the order of milestones? And it'll take you to that article and any related articles. So you can get that information super quickly. Thank you so much for your time. A lot of great questions. I'm happy to hang around for the next few minutes to answer any last questions. And again, who uses Mission Control? What industries is it focused on? Well, the key answer there is it's across multiple industries. This is like I think 49 from count on here of some of our key customers and some logos I'm sure you most likely will recognize. Pure play professional services through to media, non-profits, pharmaceuticals, you name it. We've got customers in all aspects of project management. And all the information I talked about is available online. So, obviously you can download from App Exchange. Our support page that I showed earlier has a lot of great resources. There's also ebooks and lots of other great information. And if you want a copy of the business economic impact report, we're happy to share that with you too. Now, this session is being recorded and you'll get a link to that in the next few days. That'll come through to you. If you don't receive that, please check your email spam folder or reach out to myself or one of the team. I think I had my information. I didn't copy it into there we go. There's my email address, trevor.doornbos@aprika.com. Use the spelling at the top. And really happy that you could join us today. I hope this was useful. And please feel free to reach out to any of the team online via live chat. Do check out the support page, the support site, and check out the training videos. And also there's a plethora of resources we've now got available. So whether it's you want to have a look at the blog posts, ebooks on how to manage projects, some of our pre-recorded webinars, and the mascot we have there, a cuddly koala, that's Cosmo. And our customer success team run a regular Cosmos campfire. And you'll see here that little ping, that's Omer again, just popping up on live chat. And we run Cosmo Campfire webinars on various aspects. What's the best way to create projects, clone projects, automate that? You can go back and look at those recordings, attend real time if you're in the right time zone. I think that's majority from our customer success team in the US. So if you are in APAC, Australia, New Zealand, then maybe you're going to wake up early, and you can reach out to us online any way you like to, even request a demo, and we'll get back to you pretty quickly. Again, thank you so much for your time. My name's Trevor Doornbos. I'm here in Sydney in Australia, and be happy to answer any of your questions or pass you on to someone else who can. Thank you all for joining, and I look forward to hopefully speaking with all or some of you in the near future.